We live in a culture that seems to love truisms more than truth. Social media has made us completely enamored with ideal lifestyles, looks, and luxuries. It's like we want our lives to be a movie, and we want to be the star. We want to be Ryan Gosling and Rachel McAdams and have every scene we enter burst with cinematic excellence. We want to be able to look back and say, my life was a movie. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it can't be. I just don't think we understand how much work actually goes into making a movie. You can't take one part of a metaphor and discard the rest. If you want your life to be a movie, you have to understand how movies are made. When you're actually making a movie, you have to do script writing, you have to do pre-production, storyboarding, casting a crew, lighting, and then you have to get the right cameras and the right directors and all this different stuff. And I haven't even made a movie, so I made some short films, but I'm just going off of what I understand from observation and stuff like that. But there's just a million things that go into actually producing a film. And so if we kind of take that metaphor over to our lives, if we want our lives to be a movie, we have to understand we're going to have to do all those same exact things. Obviously, in a metaphorical sense, but we're going to have to put in the work before we ever get to see these ginormous results. And that might be obvious to you, but I think it's a good reminder just to look at, you might have these big events in your life, but there's going to be a lot of tiny events that a lot of people probably don't even see that lead up to that. Even making a YouTube video is extremely difficult. You have to script everything out, and to make it look good, you have to spend hours and hours on it. So just don't forget that process, and that's what this video is kind of going to be about, is just explaining that process and just expanding upon that metaphor. So I actually got my undergraduate degree in communication and digital media, and got the chance to work on some cool short films. While those works were far from cinema, the experience taught me so much about filmmaking and cinematography. The reality is that no one just makes a good video without ample time spent in pre-production, production, and post-production. I was just watching the movie Real Steel, which I think is one of the greatest films out there. I've watched the movie several times, but this was my first time viewing it with my newfound knowledge and passion for cinematography. The storytelling instantly struck me. Movies are simply visual storytelling mediums. No shot was included in that movie that did not serve the purpose of moving the story forward. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Once you have a great story that you want to tell, you have to script it out and find the right crew and locations, not to mention all the technical aspects like lighting and film equipment. But let me not get too ahead of myself. This video is about a metaphor, life as a movie. Many of us set goals in our lives. These usually involve some future endeavor or job position, as well as relationships and achievements. Think of these things like getting to go into a theater and watch a movie you helped produce. I say helped because I believe God is the ultimate author of our stories. It would be foolish to think we could accomplish anything great alone, and equally as foolish to think we could make a movie without putting in countless hours of dedication and preparation. That preparation might not seem glamorous at the time, and candidly, nobody will likely ever see or know how much went into the behind the scenes. But they'll see the movie. When you walk down the aisle on your wedding day, most of the audience doesn't know how much work both of you put into that relationship, or how nervous you were to talk to her and take her on that first date. They just see the beautiful culmination of those things, and that's okay. They don't need to see everything, but they'll never see anything if you don't stay faithful to the entire process. I'm really not trying to make this a motivational speech or anything like that, and honestly, it's as much an encouragement to me as it is to you. I get that our lives can often seem unworthy of documenting and our goals too challenging to pursue. But we once found the things we can do now to be lofty and impossible. I'll give you an example. Whenever I was younger in middle school and early high school, I played AAU basketball, and I remember seeing the older division and watching their warm-up lines, and they were just dunking and doing all these different dunks that I just was they looked like superstars. They looked like NBA players to me, and I remember just standing there and being enamored with just how
like just they were doing something that seemed so cool to me and something so unattainable to me. And now, like several years later, all those same dunks I could do easily, and it's not like it's just routine for me. And I'm the same person. It's just that all these different things changed, and I got more athletic, and I pursued the thing that I really wanted to pursue. And there's so many areas of life that are just like that. Like we think this stuff is unattainable and like that's reserved for these certain type of people, but like we're all people. We all we can all be those people. And obviously, I guess some people are more gifted in some things than others, and like stuff like that. But at the end of the day, we can attain amazing things. It just might take longer than we think. Like at that time, I didn't have any idea how I could ever get to the athleticism that those guys were displaying, but like over time, I learned how to do that. And so it is with many different aspects of our life that we want to learn about.
Sometimes the process can be exhausting, and it can certainly feel like one phase is taking way too long. But remember, we aren't really the director of the movie anyway, and we certainly aren't the main character either. Instead of trying to be the hero of our own story, we have the opportunity to submit to the lordship of a much greater hero in Jesus Christ. When we do that, we have so much freedom to create and explore in this life. It says in the scriptures that God made us in His likeness, meaning we are designed to be like Him. Of course, the likeness was fractured by sin, only to be restored by Jesus. What this tells me is that we can be creative like God is. Of course, we can't create planets out of nothing, but we can make some cool stuff. Alright, that's pretty much it for this video, y'all. I really hope you enjoyed both the content and the visuals. As I mentioned, I have some experience in videography and really want to grow this into something I can make a living with. I'm not going to sit here and ask you to subscribe because I watch a lot of YouTube and I subscribe to people who make good content that I'm interested in. If I match that criteria for you, I am so glad and hope to keep making videos even better. In the meantime, start to look at movies and stories differently. Just because you haven't become extremely popular or successful in the world's eyes doesn't mean you're not doing well. You could still be in the script writing phase or finding a location to shoot in. All of it's valuable. All of it will help to make your life a movie. I can't wait to watch it.